the immediate past Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Pastor Usani Usani. They are there to bring us, maybe the course of interaction will know why. But before we continue, Chairman, please, may I have your permission to introduce to our guests the leadership of council and even by extension of members who are here. Sirs, at the head of affairs is Comrade Victor, who is seated in your midst. Good morning, Chair. We also have the chairman, correspondent chapel, the person of Yongshi, the first female chairman of that chapel. Good morning. I also wish to recognize the immediate past chairman of that chapel, the person of the Mazi Okoro of Sun newspaper. Good morning. I recognize Kingston, who is the vice chairman of the correspondent chapel. Good morning. With that introduction, may I please call on my colleagues to individually introduce themselves, starting from
Good morning, all. My name is Ernest.
Good morning. My name is Yakurr.
Good morning, sir. My name is Ernest. Now.
Good morning, sir.
Let's hear you, please.
Good morning, sir. My name is Musa from Triumph Newspapers.
My name is Dr.
My name is Frankie for the Paradise News.
Channels.
My name is Daniel, representing Channel.
AIT.
My name is Elvis for AIT.
And my name is Oka Ibo. I'm the Secretary of Council. Welcome. On behalf of the chairman and dear colleagues, I wish to apologize for our inability to commence on time. It was due to the late arrival of our AIT colleagues and the other one that still expected. At this juncture, Chairman, may I invite the immediate past chairman, Yakurr Local Government Area, legal title holder, Yakurr, the person of Dr. Akpama Akpama, to kindly introduce members of the entourage. So, thank you very much.
I will still start from the high table to introduce the great speaker of our team, Dr. Akpama Akpama. He is ably supported by the former Minister for Niger Delta Affairs, Pastor Usani Usani, by our at the side of the chairman of the NUJ is Reverend Dr. Bassey Akpama. Next is son of the soil, Onyadama. Maybe in the crowd, we may not introduce all, but let me identify the retired principal, Pastor Michael Etim. Is there. We also have Barrister Egbe Eworo in our midst. We have Mr. Jackson Isokun in our midst, and others. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that introduction. Please, Chairman, with that, let us commence.
Thank you. Especially welcome our guests, especially our boss, the Minister of Niger Affairs, Pastor Usani, present. I'm glad having here. It was just sad that we're having him on the program that is not to see. But always like to welcome you, sir. Welcome other members of this team. Let me make one observation. When time is being given for an event, it is wrong for us to allow our guests to be here before us. It is right invite them to come to the Lord to do it. I think that is responsibility. On that note, let me invite the speaker. So please address us. And at the end of that address, let me say, let us meet all our questions with text that has been presented to us. I say this because this is a very sensitive issue. I don't want us to delve into issues that will bring more confusion and more pain to people. So please, gentlemen, properly guide.
Gentlemen of the press, I do know when it comes to press, we don't have ladies and gentlemen. So that is why I'm addressing you, gentlemen of the press. Since we don't have much to say, and I have put down something, I just wish I read it so that within a short while we'll end this conference. We, the citizens of Nko Community in Yakurr Local Government Area across the state, deem it necessary to call for this press conference to inform you of the happenings and havoc perpetrated by the Nigerian Army on our people. While we appreciate the early interventions of the state government and security agencies, particularly the Nigerian Army, on the conflict between our community, Nko, and Onyadama community, we disagree with the way the crisis is being managed by the Army. Their approach is unethical and unprofessional. While we support every responsible and meaningful effort towards maintaining lasting peace in the area, we call on the state government and the military authority to stop the raid in Nko Community. We welcome the decision of the state government to take over the parcel of land in question. Government should take adequate possession of the said land by using the land effectively so that further crises may not arise. As a community, we cannot and will never organize any form of conflict against anyone or group of persons. We won't even contemplate any attack on the military. It is, however, regrettable that this military action in the community has largely rendered the entire indigenous of Nko homeless, beginning from Saturday, June 24, to this moment. Carnage has been exercised in arson, rape, and shooting at sight of persons. Beyond this, our women have been thoroughly brutalized in very dehumanizing form. The security situation in Nko Community has remained tense and fragile. For more than 5 days running, many people have been killed through shooting at sight, and a lot more wounded. Properties that cannot be quantified at the moment have been destroyed. The military personnel have wreaked havoc on the local populace, killing helpless persons, arresting some, and introduced a reign of terror in the area. women and children have abdicated their homes to take refuge in unknown locations, suffering the harsh effects of the associated weather in the rainy season. While we are not challenging the authority of government, it is our candid opinion that the soldiers be stationed at the said boundary between the two communities. Our community is under siege. The 4 secondary schools in Nko Community are involved in ongoing NECO examination nationwide. The students, as we are talking, cannot go to school nor write the exams. This is appalling and would definitely have effects on our growing youth. Our children generally, by this action, have been denied their right to education, as they cannot continue their learning in an unsafe environment. There are some elderly and aged men and women, pregnant and sick people in our community that have been abandoned in their homes, devoid of care, because their caregivers have fled from the community for their safety. The elders are languishing and dying of hunger. There is no food, no water to drink, and nobody to take care of them for the past 5 days. At this point, we, the people of Nko, remain very grateful to all the communities and individuals that have come to assist our suffering people. We appreciate their benevolence and sense of love. The Nigerian public, and indeed the press, we hereby request that you show empathy in form of providing welfare for the displaced homeless people. We are also calling on the press to see reason why this military action has to be terminated. We are therefore calling on international organizations, human rights activists, NGOs, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, NEMA, SEMA, and all other related bodies to come to our aid. We are crying aloud. Gentlemen of the press, while we thank His Excellency, amiable Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, for his quick intervention and the action taken so far, we as a community are appealing and pleading that the military high command should please remove the army personnel from Nko Community. Their continuous stay in the community will not help to bring peace. And the only way out is for them to move out of the community. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Questions, please. Thank you, ma'am. Please, agency.
My name is Dr. I represent Mr. We've listened to you attentively. And then yesterday, the state government issued a press statement where they said that the whole of Nko and the plant of Onyadama have been decertificated and dethroned immediately, and the disputed land taken over by And on that same statement yesterday, the government, there was a paragraph that stated that 6 soldiers were shot. That 6 soldiers were shot during the crisis. And your statement did not touch on that. I don't know whether this is true, because people are representing the community. We would like people to say something about that, because we have seen so many counter statements, especially on that paragraph that 6 soldiers were shot. Please.
Thank you very much. Soldiers have besieged the community. Nobody goes in and nobody comes out. So if we as a community here in Calabar, crying on behalf of our people, who stay here and say our people shot 6 soldiers or that, then we will not be sincere to accept. Nobody is there to know, nobody is there to confirm. So that is why in our press conference we cannot say that.
My name is Usani. I write for Nation Newspaper. Just follow up to that. We understand that besides what made the community clash, triggered the community communal clash, that the security team, including military, came for a peacekeeping operation, and one of them was shot dead. At least one was shot dead by local warlords, and that now brought a reinforcement of the military. We really want to get to know if there's anything close to that, besides the issue of missing 6 military personnel that was captured in this government.
Thank you. Your question is not different from what
that's why I say it.
And so my answer still remains the same.
Okay.
Other questions?
What was the answer for the purpose of the camera that was not made for laptop?
You know, it's not a funny thing. You cannot come to the briefing at any time and call us back when we have gone ahead with the business that we get to business.
I'm Mike Abam from Business Day. My question is, though you have accepted the effort made by the state government, do you also support the idea of removing the whole form of and that of
That is not an issue of concern right now. Our people are dying. Our people are not eating. The elderly are suffering. And the issue of chieftaincy should not arise for now. The security of our people is paramount. And that is why we are here. We are crying. It's not a funny issue.
There is none.
What is that?
Now, sir, they just ask a simple question about if soldiers were shot, and you say you cannot confirm it. How were you able to confirm the fact that they have been raped and carried in your society?
I think you need to use this. I'm not hearing you properly. Or you come out.
The colleague of mine just asked if you can confirm that soldiers were shot, and you say you cannot confirm it because you were not there. And I asked, how were you able to establish the fact that handling took place in your community?
I don't expect you to ask this type of question. I don't expect you to ask that type of question. No. When somebody knows the situation, we are in a poor situation, and you are asking this type of question. What do you want me to tell you? That people are not dying? That people are not dying?
So please, I'm here talking with rubbish.
Well, gentlemen, let me say something. Excuse me, one house, please. One house, please. One house, please. Excuse me. Before we started this business today, I was very clear. Because I know that this is a very sensitive issue. So it is possible from this press center we can, make matters worse or make matters better. So we need to be very, very careful. Please, even if he is raising his voice, you can understand where he's coming from. I don't want us to begin to misunderstand a lot of things that are going to take place in this briefing. Please, gentlemen, I said it clearly. Can we please limit our questions to the text? I was clear, and I know why I said that. Please, gentlemen.
Well, for the clarity of those who may be having some of these bits of information in doubt, you won't blame our leader for his reaction, because he obviously knows it. With particular reference to the question of how he knows that such activities are taking place, we need all to realize you don't need any microscope to see a burning property. You do not also need any investigation to see a corpse that is lying there with a pool of blood all over. And beyond that point, the things that can be done in remote circumstances, such as rape. My friends, stop that nonsense. We are here for business and you're making your calls. For matters that can be taken in remote circumstances like rape, we are not interacting with the military. And so our own people who are calling and reporting these things are the people giving us such information. And if you have seen out of 3 or 4 disastrous occurrences, one is of course not supposed to be displayed in the open, while 2, 3 are confirmed that you can visibly see. The tendency is to weigh it against the principles of social statistics to know that it is more than 80% correct. And so it will not be wrong to have a conclusive opinion that that is true. So gentlemen, it is not, we know that some people will have mindsets, but we need to also know that in circumstances where people are dying, objectivity is required. Beyond this point, we all will know that it is said, your friend's enemy is your enemy. And so the interwoven circumstances of our disagreement, internally and otherwise, will also suggest that there are people who will hinge on this to perpetuate false news, evil news, and the rest of them. One interrogative question I'd like the press to look at is this. If 6 soldiers are killed, who killed them? And if 6 soldiers are killed, were they in company of the other troops on the peace mission? And if they were in company of the other troops in the peace mission, where are the bodies? Would we say any militia, whether from the other side or from any other side, came in and picked up the bodies without the notice of any of their colleagues? Investigation should suggest that by the curiosity of our minds, we are able to interrogate such circumstances and draw conclusions that are possible, that are not possible, and that can be investigated. So I think as journalists, we have a responsibility.
What's the matter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So, from your release, you actually requested or appealed that the army should be withdrawn. And the government, on its part, is saying that the army is to create for peace. So, if the army is withdrawn, what alternative measure do you think should be instituted for there to be peace? Because you just asked for withdrawal of the army.
Well, our suggestion, we have said we totally agree with government for the steps so far taken. But in conflict resolution, you cannot put people who are already killing people to continue being in the community. What we are rather suggesting is that the military personnel should be taken to the boundary area where these clemishes had brought us where we are. That is our request. Definitely, if these people continue being in the community, it is a wrong way of bringing peace. And the government has to look into this.
Yes. My name is Peter. We have seen government going in step by disintegrating the traditional institutions of Onyadama. What practical steps are you taking to ensure that they don't convert these two communities into buffer zones? Because government will decide to say, for public interest, for overriding public interest, they want to convert these two communities, since there cannot be peace. They want to convert these communities into buffer zones.
Well, gentleman has a question.
John.
It's quite important to understand that when government takes a decision, and your question suggesting what are we doing to either approve or not approve, it's a suggestion of a confrontation with the government. And we don't have that temerity. If the government is taking a decision, we have to listen to how they want to implement it. And if they choose to involve the community for lasting peace, we'll be ready to offer our suggestions. So for now, we are waiting for the government to prepare the actions that will sustain what we want as permanent peace.
Yeah, my name is Frankie from the Paradise News. So you said the one of the solutions to the problem now is the removal of the soldiers from the communities. As these communities we learned have been at loggerhead for a very long time, and there have not been a lasting solution. So is this group suggesting that the removal of the soldier will bring a lasting solution? And if not, what do you think will bring the lasting solution between these two communities so that such occurrences will not be in the future? Thank you.
The government has already taken a decision to take over the land, the parcel of land that has been the cause of this conflict. And we thank the government for that, because it is a way of bringing peace to those two communities. And we are equally saying, it is not just government taking the land. Let government put the place into real use. We are, in the past, there have been very many committees sent, and the implementation was zero. And that is what has brought us to this level. Government has set up a committee during, Yakurr was the chairman of that committee. The implementation was not done. Whether there was a white paper or not, nothing was done. So government has to be proactive. And when government is proactive, look, there will be peace in that. We are neighboring communities. We intermarry. Even as we are talking, many of their people are living in Nko, and Nko people are living in Onyadama. So it is not a relationship that has been so strained. So if these soldiers move out, there will always be peace with what government has already done.
And here,
yeah.
Last question.
Okay, sir, good morning, sir. Fortunately, I was the chief security advisor to the governor yesterday on this same matter. And he said the interpretation of the release is that the people should not leave their community or should run away. That the soldiers should only be there to bring the situation under control. But I still let him understand that from the figures I get from some persons, they are saying that the soldiers are then destroying the community and making the whole place hostile for people. And he insisted that the soldiers' role is not to scare the people away. Now that you are here, may we really understand the real situation of the Nko people so that we just let the war be.
Thank you very much. This situation is so critical, and when people are suffering, it becomes difficult for them to even speak. And that's our situation. So we may not even be able to let you know the exhaustive circumstances under which our people are going through this kind of serious situation. Now, if they say the soldiers should be there and not unleash mayhem or terror, the question to ask is, whoever you spoke to, does he have the capacity to control the actions of the soldiers while they are there? And again, don't misunderstand the content of the address that said the soldiers should be removed from the community. There's a difference between the residency of the community and the area where that could be identified as the place to stave off any incursion from either community. We are not saying they should leave their sovereign responsibility of standing at the borders, but within the community streets and roads, where maybe any sort of provocation may trigger any other thing, is what we are after. Now, I do not know whether you are relating our complaints with the development that a certain woman is said to have been caught with some explosives. If you want to relate it, and I hear the woman said the husband gave her to a bill to somebody in Obubra.
Yes.
And if it is so, if that confession is so, explosives, apart from military use, are used for crushing rocks. And there are circumstances or conditions that will permit you to take possession of explosives, assuming you are running a quarry. One of those conditions is that you have to apply to the mines office. They give you approval. And then you have to buy from accredited marketers of those explosives. And when you are buying, both the police and other security personnel and the mines office representative will accompany you to be sure that as you use it, assuming you don't exhaust the use, they are also saved in houses specifically designed and built for that purpose, called magazines. So if a woman who does not have an idea of how to use them is in possession and is way billing from Akampa to Obubra, can you draw a correlation? And for now, the circumstances so that it is being suggested while the soldiers are there and the morale of the Nko people is low and they are vulnerable because they are scattered, it is employed to get the others, the enemies or the opponents, to get into the place and continue the raising of the community. And this will be disastrous. And I want you to capture it in the best form, so that nobody says we came here with a mindset. We have made personal efforts in making sure that peace returns, and those efforts we will continue. But it is good at times like this to interrogate objectivity, so that the truth can also help you and I. I will finally say this. I do not know any local government in the state beyond, apart from the southern local government areas, Bering or Safe Udupani local government area, that has not had communal clashes in Cross River State. And so if this will be a basis for the proactivity of government or agencies concerned to make sure that these things are kept in check, it will be good enough. Because I know that no clashes of such nature come up without security information. It is either our docility or lack of action or any other motive that makes it escalate to this extent. So I think you, the journalists, as you ask questions from us, ask elsewhere. Yesterday I saw a publication online that, and I think Cross River Watch was quoted. I don't know whether it is true or not, or whether it is impersonated. But it was said that the brigade command has been contacted, and the brigade command said they have no report of any death of a soldier. It is not my account. It is what I read from the media. So in the midst of all these conflicts of information, it is your responsibility to find out, so that we also that are concerned and cannot enter the community we'll know where to put our poll in check and where to advise government on the right action to take. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, gentlemen,
Let me, gentlemen of the press, for point of emphasis, we like to thank you for being here. But to show a little surprise that of the speech we have made, I've not heard any of the journalists talking about we saying that our children are not going to school. Nobody has bothered to ask us. The NECO exam that is ongoing, the mock exam that is ongoing, whether our children are taking part. And our statement was clear that this will affect our educational standards, status in the community vis-a-vis the states. And so I want to say clearly that our main cause of addressing this press is to say we expect that normalcy should return to the community to allow for our students to continue with their exams. It's very important. Thank you.
well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming. But let me say this again. Be careful with this report. Be careful with what you're going to send out to the public. I repeat it, be careful. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.